Yes. Welcome to Satsang. And welcome everyone who is joining us around the world. So we may be few in here, but there will be quite a few in different countries joining for Satsang. So eventually, after the meditation, there's a time or a possibility to share or to ask questions, or to contribute a little bit to the field that we're sharing here. So you are welcome, and the friends online, you are welcome to write any question or any comment on the comment section. And beautiful Steve, he has already wings growing. He will read your questions or your comments, and if needed, or if we are lucky, I may have something to say to it. I don't know if we are lucky. Maybe we are unlucky when I say something, but let's see. Have you ever been to Satsang, Marie? Yeah. Okay, great. It's kind of a reminder. We're sitting here as wonderful Buddhas, and again we forget. We get involved in story, and then we get partially or totally identified with a wave in the vast ocean, and then we believe we are the wave. And then we look outside to kind of try to define ourselves by comparing ourselves with other waves, and we get lost. And then we get the message, don't look outside, look in, go in. And when we go in, first we touch a few waves, the deeper waves. For those of you who are surfing, there's some movement even underneath the waves. But when you go even deeper, then we touch the infinite, we touch the unborn, we touch the ocean, or the infinite universe. And I'm sure everyone here has had moments where the little me, the little wave, kind of stepped a little back, and something so immense has been shown that we get hooked. I said, oh, that's amazing. And then the search starts, and then we look outside for the immensity that we have experienced inside, and we don't find it. That's what meditation is. And there are so many ways to move within. And unfortunately, many of us, I include myself, we have the tendency to attach to one or two or three ways, techniques, depending on which direction we come from or what teacher we had. And maybe you had a teacher who gave you exactly one key, and then you practice that key, and then you reach to a certain level of understanding. But in the meantime, you have identified with the key. But when the door is open, you can throw the key. So there's so many different levels of entering, but there's only one, if you want to say goal, there's only one destination, and the destination is already here. So we're not going anywhere. For me, when I look back, and it's still happening in a way, I love the waves. I'm even surfing. Even though they come, they rise and they fall, but it's so fascinating. And you know, one of the aspects of waves are the colors of our being, if you like. You know, you come in here, there's a lot of different color combinations that some of them attract us and some not. But deeper than that, we could say our chakras, our energy centers, vibrate in different frequencies, and then they create different energy bodies, and then through the experience of the energy bodies and the vibration that lifts inside, we have higher and higher waves, or more subtle waves. We call them spiritual experiences. And they are so blissful that then we get easily attached to the bliss of a spiritual experience. Nothing wrong with that, but it's good not to park there. Especially when you have an awakening experience, especially when you suddenly realize, my God, everything I see, everything I feel, I touch, I smell, I taste, is not out there. It's in me. Anybody had that? You look around and suddenly you see yourself in everything. And you feel yourself in everything. And it's amazing because it's this moment where the wave recognizes, my God, I'm just a wave. I'm actually much, much deeper. I'm the ocean. So my interest on the level of wave is, of course, I think for most of us that interest is there, is relationship, is man, woman, two different waves, very amazing. And how come that the one unified field has given birth or form to male and female? What a setup. Well, if it wouldn't be like this, there wouldn't be no life, because life only moves between polarities. And the attraction to the other sex is just part of life wanting to move. And on the level of identification, I'm sure we all know this. How much do we identify with the body, first chakra? My body. And many of us think, I am the body. Until we recognize, well, I cannot be the body, I'm aware of the body. And then we do some courses, or we fall in love and we suddenly feel so sensitive, and we kind of open up, and suddenly we feel everything, and then we think, okay, when we feel everything and the second chakra is flowing, then, wow, that's what I was looking for. And especially when we have been starving a little bit in closeness, and suddenly there is this in-breath in the second body, I call it, that wants to just merge. And then, is somebody coming?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe the person needs to hear this. Probably. So where were you? Okay, first body, no? Body identification, huge thing. Is anybody identified with material stuff, with wealth, with money, with house, with car, with something? Hmm? And then, second chakra, incredible. Merging, so we were merging. Oh God, yeah, I wanted that. And then the wave changes, the wave was rising. And eventually the wave needs to fall. And then from the merging, you feel, and something is happening, I need a little space, I need to be alone. But I don't want to be alone because the merging was so nice, but something inside changes again because the breath in the second body is melting and aloneness, melting and aloneness. And then it goes on, if we are lucky enough or we meditate enough and we actually allow these experiences, then it rises into the third chakra, and then we are really in trouble. Because I would suggest most of the world is identified with the shadow of the third chakra. What does that mean? Is anybody judging? Never. Is anybody blaming somebody else for how you feel? Is anybody comparing? Is anybody feeling superior or inferior? Make America great again, and the others, the poor others, they can be weak again. It's all third chakra unconsciousness, where a lot of energy for centuries has. If you look at the history of humankind, you find unconscious third chakra to the max. All the wars, in school, when I learned history, I didn't learn about the Buddha. I learned about who won which war, and who invaded which country. So biggest division here. But if you have been lucky and you're merging enough with each other and allow the heart to be included, eventually the energy opens here and brings joy, and you feel suddenly very unique, and you feel like an individual that is incomparable. So that is the end of power trips, if you realize I cannot compare myself. And everything, the body is unique, the fingerprint is unique, the eye color is unique, body shape is unique, your whole expression is unique, your voice is unique, everything is unique. So to compare or to judge or to distance yourself is a faint attempt to keep an identity that is separate from the other. And then when we are lucky, energy moves into the heart. And then suddenly, oh my God, this is such a big shift from comparison and competition into space, into love, into openness, into melting and merging, but a different way than the second body. And so on. So we could go through all the chakras, and that's something which is very, very beautiful to explore with a partner. That's why, I love to do these courses for couples, the art of love and intimacy, because there is a potential there that is very already available. The potential for energy transformation, for the sexual energy moving into sensuality, into joy and power, into love, into creativity, into awareness and into oneness. And it's all one energy. And it's just a refinement. It's like the wavelengths get shorter and the waves are smaller and the ripples are small, until we, dissolve in the oneness of everything. And that is the amazing thing, that this is possible, of course, through meditation and through lovemaking. That is really amazing, but not the lovemaking that you see in movies. That doesn't work. You make me feel so good doesn't work. You make me feel so bad doesn't work either, because you is a projection of me. So the possibility to turn the attention around from the most beloved to yourself and include the beloved inside rather than include the beloved by going out to the beloved changes everything. Can you relate to that, or is that too far already? So that's basically what meditation is. It is shifting or changing the direction of our energy flow from outward to inward. And I think there most of us are still out of balance, because we still move so much outward. Just look at the mobile phone, at computer, at shopping, at beauty in nature, at anything that pulls us out. And how much time during the day are we going in? Are we daring to allow the outer impressions to be the doorway inwards that touches something that the mind cannot describe? So, does anybody know when full moon is, by chance? Thursday. Okay. Yesterday?
Yeah.
We missed it.
It might have peaked this morning at 8 a.m, I think.
Ah.
Leo
Leo moon. It's funny that it's Leo moon. When I was tuning in for today, I felt we need to go into the second body, into the feeling body. We need to kind of open the delicacy of our sensitivity. As small children, we all know this, when you hold a baby, there's nothing in between. There's such a soft, incredible, transparent energy field, and our heart, unless you're totally made of stone, or you're totally in your mind, the heart just melts into the baby, and the baby melts into you. And we're looking for that in the melting with a partner. Because we are incredibly highly sensitive beings. And many of us have kind of, on a certain level, closed down out of a misunderstanding, out of the fear or the belief that we can get hurt. Now, on the second body level, we can get hurt. Just somebody says something stupid to you, and you go into shock. Or, as children, we have experienced, even if we had many very loving parents, we had moments where we got really confused when somebody said something about you. And probably some of us still get confused when somebody else has an opinion about you and expresses it, especially a negative opinion. And we forget that whatever the person says has nothing to do with you, it has something to do with the person. But as children, we learn to define ourselves through the opinions of others because we don't know yet who we are. And unfortunately, many of us of course, present people accepted. Many of us keep defining ourselves through the opinion of others, and that creates a horrible situation. Because then you are dependent, then you have to please, then you have to do all the strategies of manipulation to get attention, because we need attention and all that. So, second body, feeling body. It's very easy somehow to feel when we are in nature, because everything in nature doesn't have a mind except man or woman. So we are here very, very privileged to be in a place where nature is kind of pouring into us from every side. Most of the time we miss it because we are in our mind in a story. But also, if you have been working with yourself a little bit and with your emotions, you realize, hopefully, probably everyone here has already realized that emotions, negative or positive emotions, are, one layer, and it's not who you are, even though we tend to identify with an emotion and think it is me. But I think many of you here already have experienced that there's something deeper than your emotion, even in the middle of emotion. Have you recognized that? When you're totally pissed off and you could kind of tear the other to pieces, and when you really look inside, there is an unmoving space of stillness, and you watch the weather of rage moving, and hopefully moving with enough awareness that you don't hurt anybody, but sometimes we don't have that. But even then, there's something that is still inside, and I call that, it's deeper. It's deeper than your identity. Your false identity is a space. Can you relate to that? Yeah. And then it's wondrous. You see it with children. No? Children go through a huge catharsis, and the next moment they are happy. So why do we hold on to something and stay unhappy and tell ourselves the same story every day? Until it kind of gets a bit boring, or we look for a different partner. So, how did we get there?
Where?
One can get easily lost in the second body. No? So, anyway, let's go into another dimension of it. Rasoma has created a very, very beautiful remedy called the orange pomander. If you like the idea, second chakra is very connected to the color orange. And orange is a mixture of red and yellow. Red, yellow, orange is in the middle. And the orange pomander, like all the pomanders and quintessences, are made from essential oils and herb extracts in a specific mixture that resonate with a certain vibration. And since I would say all of us to a certain extent have experienced energetic freezing, energetic close down, habitual shock moments where we stop feeling anything. Anybody has that sometimes? Like, and it could be you see a spider, and and the poor spider has nothing to do with your shock, but it triggers something where you totally freeze and you want to scream and run out of the door. And the poor spider is just sitting there hairy, spread out with long legs here, you know, and wonders what happens to her. So, well, some of us...
Spider goes into shock too.
Absolutely.
Spider also goes into shock. Yeah. Now, some shocks are very reasonable, you know. If you swim and you see a shark, then the shock creates enough adrenaline so that you can swim to the side, hopefully. But we all carry layers of shock, layers of shame. Are you familiar with shame? You know, I think all of us have been, in one way or the other, experiencing shame. You know, when somebody makes you is laughing about you, or you see yourself naked and the most sensitive part of your body is somebody jokes about you. You know? And now shame is collective. I think in Australia it's quite amazing. There is so much shame about simply being natural naked. I was very astonished. In Germany it's kind of more easy, or in Denmark, no? Or in Sweden, you know, there you have these beautiful lakes, everybody swims naked, nobody bothers. And here you get a fine of $600 if you're naked on the beach.
America's worse.
You get arrested. It's amazing. You get arrested. You get arrested for being born the way you
Take the top off.
Yeah. Then you have to go to France, Steve.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can take my top off.
Yeah. So emotional work on this level can be very helpful, just to create space of the feeling body. But also, you know, how to say, when you learn the art of making love, and don't just stay in your first chakra, but allow the energy to move into the second body. Probably most of us here know this, that when the feeling body suddenly opens, it's so ecstatic, and it's only the first two chakras. And then when the relaxation happens deeper and you go in rather than out to the other, you know, the energy refines through all the chakras. And that's why I heard Osho say quite a few times that meditation has been discovered through making love. Because eventually, at a certain point, the duality, when the energy refines into finer and finer frequency, disappears. And with the duality, our identity, our false identity disappears. And there's just presence. There's no person anymore. So in deep lovemaking, I'm sure many of us have experienced this. It is an inbuilt, natural possibility if it is used rightly. Unfortunately, you know, the way we learn about lovemaking is, I don't think many have an education. We have a clinical education that lingam needs to go into the yoni so that you can make children and know how that works. But all the rest, there's no education. And very few people actually know the art of making love. Even though the word says making love, it doesn't say sex. It is creating love. But that is only happening when the energy has refined enough to move to the heart. So, orange pomanda is kind of an amazing thing. It's in Aurasoma, it's also called Humpty Dumpty. You know Humpty Dumpty? The little children's rhyme. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and even the king's knights and the king's horses couldn't get Humpty Dumpty together again because he crashed into many, many pieces. but the orange pomanda can.
Gotta rewrite that story.
Yeah, it's also called shock absorber or etheric rescue. Because if you see aura, you will see that when somebody is in shock, or when you had a car accident and everybody's trembling, or your lover just told you, I'm gonna leave today and I never want to see you anymore, and you don't even know where it came from. You freeze. So the shock absorber, actually the aura moves away from the center to the left side, and then we feel out of it. That's why there's this expression, I'm out of it. And when we use the orange balance oil or the orange pomanda, you could actually see how the aura realigns itself in the center. It's all energy, and it's kind of pure nourishment for the feeling body. Shall we try this? So let's try this. If you could all stand up and make your left palm available, and you're going to get 3 drops of the orange pomanda onto your left palm. And when you receive it, rub it into your hands and close your eyes. And just feel into the vibration of it. And let that pomanda in your hands be like a tuning fork to bring your attention not just to the physical body, but to the feeling body, to that invisible field. Taking a few deep breaths. And then you can raise your arms high above the head, your palms facing outward, and just imagine you can send this orange ray of light all around the earth, out of your left hand, around the earth, back into the right hand. Reminding each being on this beautiful planet to relax, to feel again, to be sensitive. It's okay if you feel your own feelings and if you feel other people's feelings, because emotional body is like water. It flows everywhere. And then you can bring your palms above the crown and imagine you standing under a shower of orange light that falls through your aura like gentle rain, soothing, warm, gentle. And then as you come closer to the energy field around your head, you can begin to clear and clean your aura. Just the way we wash the body with soap and water, we can wash the aura with the pomanda. And you may notice at a certain distance to the physical body, you feel a more dense energy field, and that is usually an aspect of the second body, of the feeling body. So you can clear and clean your temples, your parietals, the back of the head, the frontal area. And then you can bring your palms together above the crown, the symbolic gesture of oneness, where the opposite can meet as complementaries. And as you move with your palms through your third eye, for a moment, imagine you can draw the curtain of your identifications. Third eye is identifying. When you draw that curtain, you may come to a moment of just simply pure awareness, seeing reality as it is. And clearing your face. And when you come to the throat, opening another curtain, the curtain of your beliefs. As you draw it aside, you can move from knowing, from knowledge. All beliefs have something to do with knowledge. And as you allow that to open, you can touch not knowing. You will find every creativity arises from not knowing, from a spontaneous expression. And feel how, on the level of feeling body, our throat can relax, so that we can speak out what is true. Then you can clear and clean your shoulders and arms, just a little bit distant from the physical body. And then when you come to the heart, just touching the outer layers of the heart, it's like another curtain, the curtain of our ideals and shoulds. The heart is so burdened with shoulds and should nots. As you draw that curtain, you can open to the innocent heart, to that deeper sense of feeling, and then even deeper than that, to the empty heart. And just allow your hands to rest over your heart for a moment, absorbing that orange ray deep in the silence of the heart. And perhaps as you rest with your heart, you can already get a sense of this body of light, this feeling body that permeates the physical body and also feels this field around you that can relax. Perhaps you can feel your heart responding to this vibration, softening, melting. And we can move to the solar plexus. And with the orange pomander we can just melt all these strategies of separation that keep us separate, all the power trips that we are so used to. Touching the simple joy of being a unique being. And then when we come to the lower belly, to the second chakra, this is where the orange pomander is at home. Just imagine you're touching this highly sensitive being. We can call it the inner child, an aspect of ourselves that is open, vulnerable, melting, trusting. Trust in existence here is on a very deep level. Taking a few deep breaths, feeling how your whole feeling body can relax, can let go, can melt. Knowing that there's a core even deeper than that holds you. And then down to your first chakra, along the legs, all the way down until you connect with Mother Earth. And this is a good moment to let go. Letting go whatever you're ready to let go of. Anything that you know, anything you're identified with, any story that you don't need anymore. Just dare to be empty for a moment. Totally empty. And really be curious to see or feel what is here when everything you thought you are is not here. What is here? And now as you come up, just imagine this orange light rising through your body, through your legs, all the way up through your upper body, all the way up, until you stand for a moment with your wings open, with your hands open. Feeling your inner expansion, and then you can cup your hands in front of your nostrils and taking 3 deep breaths of this fragrance into the temple of the body. Very good. Then you can sit. So maybe you had already a little experience of what we could call the light body. So I want to dedicate the light of the candle today to our deep capacity to feel again, to dare to feel. No feeling can ever be too much, except for our limiting mind. The moment we feel again, we are back in the flow. As long as we think about it, we are stuck in the mind. A little meditation. Close your eyes. Take a few deep, conscious breaths. And very consciously, just be aware of the shift of direction when your attention that has been moving outward begins to move inward. Because wherever your attention goes is where your energy flows. So suddenly you may feel an inward movement of energy. And we're not seeking anything, we're just turning in. And bringing our relaxed attention to the sensory experience of now. All the senses, they're usually taking us outward to objects. We smell a flower, we taste food, we see objects, we hear sounds, and the attention goes out. But in the same way, every sense is a door inward when we let it become a window. For example, we hear the night animals, these frogs or cicadas. And just feel how the sound enters. rather than you going out to the source of sound, you let sound enter, and in that very moment we are more present. Let feeling enter. You may feel yourself sitting on the chair or on the cushion. You feel that connection of your clothes on your skin, or you may feel the feet on the floor. All these experiences can be welcomed inside, can be absorbed in you. This is beautiful tantric meditation that you can do alone or with a partner, where you allow your senses, like we can try that right now, the feeling sense, and we can absorb it in the heart, and this inward movement into the heart, allowing the sounds, the music, my voice, the night animals, absorbing all of it in the heart. And you will find every sense is a door to an undescribable field. A formless field. So when in this way we feel the breath moving in and out, we are also absorbing the sensation of breathing in the heart. You can do that with tasting, smelling. Maybe you still have the fragrance of arasoma in your nostrils. Absorbing that fragrance in the heart. And you will notice that suddenly the birds or the animals are actually singing within you. The source of sound may appear outside, but the sensory experience can only happen in you. And like this, every sense is a doorway to the formless within, to your infinite being. The sound is a doorway to silence inside. The movement is a doorway to stillness inside. And the deeper we melt inside, and we could say we are melting into the heart. melting through many layers. We're naturally melting deeper than thoughts. And thoughts can continue, they are just like clouds in the sky. No need to attach or reject any thought, they have no substance. And we can melt deeper than feeling. And feeling is like another wave, another cloud in the empty sky. It can only happen because you as space are here. And like this we can melt deeper than any body sensations. They come and go in that which is aware. And we can melt deeper than the breath. Even breath, that movement of wave, in breath, out breath, happens in you, in us. Deeper than the heartbeat. If we can be aware of the heartbeat, we must be deeper than the object of awareness. And deeper than all experiences. We ask ourselves, what or who am I? Deeper than all experiences. There's no more answer. And yet I am. Rest here. Rest behind all experiences for a while. Rest as this natural, effortless field of peace and presence. Field of love and awareness. They are all words that point to the formless, undefinable, unlimited, beginningless, endless. Rest here for a while as each out-breath takes us deeper. Feel this peace. Feel this silence. Feel the space of presence, which is not just here in this room, it's like a field that connects all of us on this call. Where there's no time, just this moment. This space is not created, it is revealed. It has always been here. The silence, the peace is not created, it is unveiled as a space that has always been within. Whenever we remember, it is here. Hidden underneath every experience. In a moment when we come back, just bring with you that natural quality of presence, of love, of space, of silence. So here we can take a deeper breath, gently becoming aware of the body again, this form, maybe moving a little bit, the hand, the foot. Bringing with you the fragrance of being. Until you find a good moment to open your eyes to a completely new moment here. And another deep breath and a good stretch back into this Buddha body. Yes, so we can open this up a little bit if you have anything you want to say or share or ask. And for those of you present here, there's a place for you here. And if you're with us online, feel free to write any comment or any question, and Steve will read it to us, and perhaps there's something that I can say about it.
Where did we just go? Where did we just go?
Where did we just go?
Because I was not here.
So, if you were not here, what was here? That's the mystery, you know. We never go anywhere. That what we are never goes anywhere. It is just revealed fresh, and as an experience in the body, it looks like there is nothing, there's nowhere, there's, you know, question mark, where, what? Nobody can answer that. But if you question, if you take that question, am I? You will find yes. The I am is the only no thing that is always here, isn't it? Anything you penetrate with inward ends up in no thing. This is, you know, this is as ancient as the Buddha, and much ancient, more ancient. When the Buddha got asked, what have you attained with awakening? He said, nothing. No thing. Did any technique help you? No technique reveals what you already are. It's even deeper than the senses. This is, you can only relate to some experience through the senses, and suddenly there's no, you're deeper than the senses. And funny enough, we go there every night when we go to sleep, just including a level of unconsciousness. But everything we know disappears. Otherwise we cannot sleep. Your problems disappear, your relationship disappears, your money disappears, your house disappears. When you go to sleep, nothing. When you go into meditation, nothing. Just with one little difference, you know, you couldn't come back so easily if you would be really asleep. And that state that looks like nothing is so quickly overlooked because it's not validated by form, by thought, by explanation. It cannot be explained. In India they call it rahasya. You know, the mystery, the secret. You know, when we go to Bali for our courses, and they ask me, what's your name? And I say, rahasya. I said, oh, secret. It's not just secret, it's the unnameable. And of course rasa is just a name for nothing. Just like Steve is. And isn't it strange that we enjoy it so much? So out of nothing comes this fragrance of beauty and joy that the mind looks for and cannot find, because the mind itself covers it, trying to make a copy of the real thing. So I don't know where we went. Because we've always been here. It's kind of such a magic in meditation. We start, as a sense of self, with the body, with our feelings, with our personality, with our trips and stories. And we don't do anything, we just go, we just enter behind all experiences. And that's not difficult. It's like, we do that every evening, every night when we fall asleep. But the amazing thing, why I find meditation is so helpful, even for even for living a limited bodily life through the senses, it's so helpful, because the moment we touch the infinite, the little I is meaningless. It doesn't, it has nothing to do here. And in that moment we plug into a completely different source. We plug into the infinite, because we are infinite. And then suddenly, from formless into form, there's suddenly it's fueled by infinite energy rather than personal energy. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And this experience of being fueled by the infinite is incredible. The first time I had an experience of that, I had no idea of spirituality and meditation and all that. It was, ski climbing mountains. And I'm sure if any of you have done some sport that is a little bit more than, a little yoga exercise. I like yoga, by the way. With mountain climbing, it's very clear. You climb, and then eventually your mind says, "Now I'm too tired. I cannot walk anymore."
You're crawling in the snow, going up.
Yeah, with skins under the skis, and the peak is so far away, and your mind goes, "Never, ever, I can reach there." And you keep going, and the mind says, "Now I'm finished. I cannot walk anymore." And you don't believe the mind, and suddenly a new wave comes, the second wind they call it. Can anybody experience that? Suddenly you don't know where the energy comes from. Definitely it doesn't come from your ego, because your ego also already has complained about your suffering of climbing mountains. And suddenly the energy comes, and you fly up, but then there comes a new threshold, and you feel, "Oh no, this is impossible." And you don't believe your mind. And you keep going, and suddenly a third wind comes. This is what drives all these crazy people up Mount Everest. Of course, it's an ego trip, because I've been on the highest mountain of the world, but it's also a spiritual trip. It's overcoming your physical and mental limitations. But Everest is dangerous, so many people die there. But I can very much relate to it, because isn't that what we all seek? To grow beyond the little me and feel plugged into an infinite source of energy. And then falling back into the source is, in common words, called death. There is no death, because that has never been born. And I think to even have a glimpse of that in this lifetime is such a blessing. Oh, God. That's why we call it God, the invisible, the formless, the unexplainable. To call it God is a good excuse, but then our mind makes God into a very strange figure that looks through the keyhole to see what sin you're doing right now when nobody looks. You notice that you behave very differently in front of your bathroom mirror when nobody looks? And then you just think, oh, somebody could look through the window, and immediately you kind of behave. So the real God is this what lives through us, when the little me just gives a little way. Anybody wrote something?
Yeah, I've got a question.
A question.
Anne Lorenson.
Anne Lorenzen. Hi,
Lorenzen.
Anne. Welcome. Yes.
How can I know the difference between my true feelings and protections my mind creates? Example, resistance.
How do you know the difference? How do you know when something is resistance? It's a good question. Resistance is a habit of the sense of self that is not real. So with resistance we appear solid. There is something that we experience, and then there's an interpretation that I don't want to experience this. And the ego loves it, because then I exist. Whatever I exist persists. Now you ask, is it a true feeling or not? Well, it's an observation of resistance. It is a wave that appears in consciousness. And in resistance we usually identify with, because I am against that, and then I exist. So on that level we could say we have to differentiate between a story that appears to create a feeling or a true feeling. So what's the difference? Anything that we call emotion doesn't begin as a feeling, it begins as a thought. Usually a thought about the past. And this thought creates a sensation in the body, and the sensation in the body creates an emotion. And then we can be sad, or we can be angry, or we can be whatever the emotion is. Now, Byron Katie has this beautiful way of pointing to the difference. If you can pick out the thought, like yesterday somebody said something to me and I'm still hurting, then the thought is about yesterday, about an event, and the mind recreates the story, and the story creates a bodily feeling. Can you relate to that? No? But it starts with a thought. A true feeling is always now. It is unrelated to story. A true feeling is you touch the cushion where you're sitting and you feel this. You touch your cheek and you feel this. You touch your beloved and there's a warmth. You touch the cold stone and it's cool. That's direct. There's no story to it. The moment there's a story to it, you go into the past, recreating a sensation that you didn't want in the first place, if it's a negative feeling. Or you go in the past as a memory if you want to retrieve a beautiful feeling. Like if you have been to Switzerland and it was very beautiful and the mountains were, gorgeous in the sunshine, and you want to feel good, you create that positive emotion. You start dreaming of Switzerland. Oh God, 2 meters of new snow. Oh God, deep powder, yeah. And you're sitting in Byron Bay and missing the whole beautiful warm summer. So that's an untrue feeling, if you like. In Sweden there's snow right now, so you probably can relate to that. If you look outside the window, you still have daylight. You can see the beautiful snow, or maybe fog, or I don't know where you are. I don't know if that makes any sense. Did I answer that question?
But can I just ask you, doesn't it essentially just come down to one thing, which is just where you are not, and then the question of true or not true doesn't even arise?
That's right. Absolutely. True or not true is an interpretation of the mind, always. And behind that, the truth is already. Everything is the truth, if you like. Everything that is. That's the truth. And I don't know why this is like this. It is an instrument for separation. No? The moment, and we all do this, the moment we say, this is beautiful, you already lost the truth. You interpret something according to your own memory. Things are. So if you rest more and more in that, then you're in big trouble, because then good disappears and bad disappears, and right disappears and wrong disappears. Pretty much all duality disappears. And if you look a little bit, if you look at a little baby, it has no idea of right and wrong. So our division, our interpretation is all learned. And the return to non-interpretation is not something that the mind can do. It is just kind of it hits you as grace. It's like, quite mysterious, really. And the more we turn our attention, I said that so many times, and I say it many more times because I can remind myself with it. When we allow our attention to move again and again in any life situation towards that which is aware of the experience, aware of the event, rather than to the event, we are always returning back to who we are, because that's the only no thing we are. We are that which is aware. That's been something that was such a puzzle, because I heard Osho say so many times, be aware. But how I interpret it today is be present to that which you're aware of. No? Because awareness is already here. Each time you say anything, you can only say it because there's something in you that is aware of the saying, of whatever you express. So awareness is unborn. It's already here. It's undying. It's already here. The moment we describe anything, we can only describe it because behind it is awareness. Behind it is that space in which the interpretation can arise. So over the years, the understanding of the word awareness has shifted amazingly. And now around the world is this mindfulness thing. This is a terrible name. Mindfulness. We are looking here for empty mind. And we get taught mindfulness. But I understand mindfulness is presence to each moment's experience. But then the mind is not full. The mind has nothing to do here. Presence is full. So we should find a different name for it.
Somehow it also seems maybe that then there's an easier mistaking observation as opposed to witnessing.
Yeah.
Like I often hear people say, be present, but they're more in the sensory observational, the subject-object, which requires the mind, and more it's a focus of attention rather than being aware, which there's no effort with that.
That's right. Awareness is one of the names of, I would say, of Allah, of God, of awareness, consciousness, God, presence, space, existence. It's all attempts to describe the undescribable. And yet it's all what is always here. And the amazing thing is, for us as human beings, we are, I think, the only species that can be aware of awareness. I cannot say it differently. The moment awareness falls back on itself, the moment we become aware, all there ever is awareness. Everything else falls flat. Every other definition of us falls flat. And that's usually is called awakening or enlightenment. It's like, I have always been the background in which every experience appears and disappears. That's the only reality that is unchanging. Everything else changes. And the more we, I don't know if you understand this, does it make sense? The moment you deviate from that into another definition, it's a lie, you're caught. But when we recognize ourselves as that which has always been here, as awareness, that's where birth and death in a way disappears. Ramana said it so beautifully, the unborn awareness doesn't mean it's not there, but it's an invisible space. And only, I think, human beings, I don't think even dolphins or whales who are more conscious than every other animal, can be self-reflective and actually become aware of awareness. They're already one with everything. And for us, it's ungraspable. And yet it is, I would almost say, so yummy. And it's always here. Everything is held in this. That's why people call it God. Every experience, every expression, every form, every dissolution of form, everything is held in the arms of the divine. Nothingness. So in a way, we're talking here about the impossible, and that's pure joy. So, and I don't know if we answered your question, but thank you anyway.
Asha, we have a question from
Yeah.
Giri Fabry.
Giri
Fabry.
Fabry. Hi, Giri.
How do we face that fear that I sometimes feel when we sit in silence and our future and history disappears and there is nothing?
Great. That's the fear of every meditator, by the way. I remember sitting with Osho and feeling that everything, if I really let go now, everything will disappear and I will be totally gone. I was in panic. So how to face this fear? I would frame it a little bit different. I would say recognize right in the moment where the fear of disappearance seems to grip you. It's a survival fear. It's a survival fear of the ego, because the ego knows if you go a little bit further in, you're gone. So it's a fear of the mind. But if you just shift your attention a little bit, rather than not wanting the fear, you recognize that the fear is already held in that which is aware in you. Otherwise you couldn't speak about fear. Then you can ask, well, am I the fear or am I that which holds it? And you will always find, this is for all of us who have maybe emotional difficulties and traumas and problems. If you really look, everything is already held in that which is aware. So this could be one way. And the other way, if you like, of course it's an invitation for the mind, is, okay, fear is there, let me experience it. Okay, how does it feel? It feels my heart is shrinking. It feels every cell in my body is trembling. It feels like I'm gonna die. Actually, my thought process is I'm gonna die. And instead of resisting it, you say, okay, come in. Let's feel it a little bit more. Let's really tremble. Let's shiver. Let's turn the volume of this panic into absolute existential super panic. And you realize you're still here. The panic is kind of a ripples and waves on the surface, but you, without definition, are still here. So you can play with it. If you like a little drama, really let it come in. Just invite the fear into every cell. And the moment you invite it, it's only possible to invite it because you are the space for it. So eventually it kind of loosens the impact. And when you are gone, just like Steve was gone before, he asked, where have we gone? Who cares? There's nobody there. And then suddenly nobodiness has a body. That's a strange thing, isn't it? And then when we then talk about ourselves, we cannot talk about ourselves as a person anymore, but only as a presence. It took me so many years to understand. I heard Osho say this very often. It's like, I'm not a person, I'm a presence. Well, it's true. The person is a made-up structure of our mind. The core is empty of mind and person and personality and program. So it must be presence. So don't give up. Keep disappearing, keep dying. And you will notice the more you die, only the false can die. You, that which is aware, can never die. Put it to the test. Don't believe me. And you are not alone. It happens to many meditators. For me, it was when sitting with Osho, I felt I'm drowning, I'm finished. If I go one step further, nobody will find me anymore. So it took many years to take the, to be pushed or kicked into nothingness. If it happens, let it happen. It's always an act of grace. That last kick is un coup de grâce, you say in French. Okay. Yes, beloveds. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you everyone around the world. And thank you for your questions. You see, when I get a question, I have things come. Something wants to talk. So have a beautiful rest of the evening. And we have a few announcements. So next Friday, another satsang. And then on the 15th of next month, we have an open evening in Temple Byron, where I introduce the art of love and intimacy. That it's a course for couples. Basically, I talk a little bit about the art of making love, which is, even if you made love a lot, it may be kind of inspiring. And it is basically finding your true self through love and intimacy. and we're going to have an open evening. And whoever has been in the course, it would be very beautiful if some of the couples can come, and just as a presence of that would be wonderful. So that's an invitation, and for
What's that night called?
The Art of Love and Intimacy, Awakening to Love,
Yep.
An introduction to Rahasya's work with couples, maybe.
Preview.
On the 15th in Temple Byron, and we will try to make it Facebook Live, but last time we tried, we failed utterly in Temple Byron, so we hope that next time it will work.
What time is that?
What time? 6:30. For 2 hours, 6:30 till 8:30. And Temple Byron is quite an interesting place with many crystals, and so you're very welcome. Have a beautiful evening.
When is the course?
Sorry?
When is the course?
The course is 19 to 25 of March. Residential in Sangsuriya. And in the moment I think we have 4 places left for 4 couples. So enjoy a cup of tea and have a beautiful rest of the evening. Let yourself be held into your sleep. Existence loves you, it just kind of carries you any moment. Dare to die, and then tomorrow morning say, oh, I'm still here. Thank you.